So you learn to accept things about your spouse that they're not going to change or cannot change, and you laugh about them. And then commitment. Those who thrive in the second half are committed to each other. They believe marriage is a covenant, not just a contract. I'll do this if you do that. Oh, no, no. I want to talk today about the second half of marriage. People ask me, well, how do you know if you're in the second half? If you're 50, you're in the second half, unless you're going to live to be 120. I teamed up with Dr. Harold Myra, and we wrote a book on the second half of marriage called Married and Still Loving It. And what we did was interview scores and scores of couples, trying to find out what are the characteristics of couples who thrive in the second half and those who just survive in the second half. And I want to share those characteristics with you. First of all, they learn how to keep love alive. Many times by speaking the 5 love languages. That is, learning to speak the love language of the other person so that the emotional need for love is met. That's fundamental. Secondly, they learn how to deal with their failures by apologizing and forgiving each other. You won't have a long-term healthy marriage. You won't be thriving if you don't deal with your failures. And then they learn how to not only to accept the things that irritated them in the earlier years, but they learn how to laugh about those things. If I could illustrate from my own marriage, you know, when we got married, I had visions that we would get up early in the morning and we would have breakfast together and we would pray together. After we got married, I found out my wife didn't wake up till 10 o'clock. I didn't say she didn't get up, I said she didn't wake up. So that little vision went out of my mind. Well, recently she had to get up one morning really early, and she was in the kitchen with me. And when I turned, I bumped my head on a door that she left open. And then I went over on the other side and I hit my arm on another door she had left open. And then I turned around to get the knife to cut my grapefruit and I almost tackled her. And I started laughing. I said, Carolyn, I'm so glad you're not a morning person. I don't ever have these problems when I'm here by myself. So you learn to accept things about your spouse that they're not going to change or cannot change. And you laugh about them. And then commitment. Those who thrive in the second half are committed to each other. They believe marriage is a covenant, not just a contract. I'll do this if you do that. Oh, no, no, because you will leave the marriage if you have a contract marriage. They believe it's a covenant, and they're committed to each other. That's why they get up. They're resilient after they have problems, and they keep working at it until they learn answers. Then many of them, that commitment is based on a strong faith in God. They have confidence that there's more to marriage than just you and me, that God is with us, that God has plans for us. God wants to use us. He's gifted each of us, and we want to help each other, encourage each other to be everything that God intended us to be. These are the couples that are thriving in the second half. And then the last one I want to mention is that they keep adventure in the marriage. You know, we tend to be creatures, we get into a rut, and we do the same old thing over and over. But those couples that are thriving, they keep adventure in their marriage. Now, for some of you who are older, that may mean just driving a different way to the grocery store, okay? You go the same old route every time. Or maybe going to a different restaurant. Most of us have 3 or 4 restaurants we go to the same every time. Try something different. Maybe you won't like it. My wife and I went to one recently. We didn't like it. And we said, well, that was an adventure, but we're not going to do that again, you know. You keep adventure in the marriage. Maybe go back and visit your honeymoon site. My wife and I planned to do that. We got there and they'd torn the hotel down. But we still had an adventure. Maybe it's to take a train ride to anywhere. Just how long has it been since you've been on a train? Or maybe if you're still able, maybe do a bicycle ride together. You have to borrow the bicycles. Maybe you don't have them or you can rent them. You do something different. If you keep adventure in your marriage, you are likely to be thriving in the second half. You know, my desire has always been that marriage should get better and better, not become mundane and stale. And I believe if you will take these challenges I've given you today, you will thrive in the second half of your marriage.